lot of people are now struggling mentally, emotionally, financially. They are at risk of losing their jobs, their livelihoods, and so many different things. So we are going to wrap up this season of the Church Hurt Recovery podcast so that we can talk about some other things that will help you as well. Welcome to the Church Hurt Recovery Podcast with your host, Soneakqua J, where we'll walk through the question, what in the church happened to you? I am a licensed professional counselor in the states of Texas and Ohio, where I work with people dealing with anxiety, depression, and religious trauma, also known as church hurt. But this is not therapy. This is a podcast highlighting social and emotional learning skills and strategies that will help you manage your thoughts, feelings, emotions, decisions, and relationships as it pertains to everyday life, but specifically for the church. If you like what you're hearing, please give us a subscribe so that you never miss an episode. Grab your water and your journal and let's jump in. Welcome back to the Church Hurt Recovery Podcast, where we ask the question, what in the church happened to you? And then we talk about social and emotional learning skills and strategies to help you manage your thoughts, feelings, emotions, relationships, and decisions in the church, but also in everyday life. So we are going to do our season 1 wrap up today. And one of the reasons why I'm pausing this particular podcast here is because there are a lot of things going on in the world right now. I am in the United States in case you're watching from somewhere else, but we are going through a lot of changes, a lot of things politically, a lot of things culturally that are affecting a lot of my clients. And I want to take a pause here, not because church hurt recovery is not super important to my clients, to the culture, to the communities, as well as myself, but because there are other things that are calling for my attention as well. So we will pick up the Church Hurt Recovery podcast in a different season and we will be back. But if you want to look at my YouTube channel as well as other parts of my social media outlets and pages, I'm going to start talking about how to help yourself manage we're still talking about social and emotional learning, but how to manage our thoughts, feelings, emotions, relationships, and decisions outside of the church, and how we manage and save our peace in the culture and climate that we are currently in. A lot of people are now struggling mentally, emotionally, financially. They are at risk of losing their jobs, their livelihoods, and so many different things. So we are going to wrap up this season of the Church Hurt Recovery podcast so that we can talk about some other things that will help you as well. So to wrap up here in season 1, just to recap, we have been talking about the financial concerns and how you look at managing your own finances, even within the church system. We've talked about how to manage and how to look at bullying and how to handle some of those things. We've talked about cults and how to get yourself out of those situations and into safety. But all the while, we have been talking about using, upgrading, learning social and emotional learning skills and strategies. So remember, those skills are self-awareness, social awareness, self-management, relationship skills, and decision making. And so when you are faced with something that is going on in your church as well as in your culture, remember that these things, these skills are for you. You have to be very, very aware of your own self-awareness. What's going on in your world? How are you doing socially and emotionally, mentally? Take a step back from things so that you can understand where you are. Because if you are struggling in your emotions, in your mind, you are going to struggle in any area of your life, and especially in the church, because remember, the church is made up of people who come out of our communities, out of our cultures, who may be hurting themselves. We're not going to be perfect. So you have to be very self-aware of where you are in your own mind and emotions so that you can manage yourself well in the church. And the next part of that scale is self management. Knowing where you are helps you mentally and emotionally, helps you learn and understand better how to manage the things that you need to manage, how to manage your finances, how to manage your relationships. You are going to have to manage yourself well in the event that you're in an environment that is not being managed well, which leads us to social awareness. What's going on around you socially? What's going on in your environment? We've been talking about that in the aspect of church. What's going on in the church environment that you need to be self-aware of, able to manage yourself well in, so that you understand whether the social environment that you are in is a healthy one for you. Okay, what's going on with the people around you? How are you reacting or responding to them? How are they reacting or responding to you and the things that you are thinking and doing? That is very, very important so that you are able to understand whether or not you are in a healthy environment or not. And then we move on to your relationship skills. So if you don't have self awareness, self management, you are unsure of yourself socially, you're not socially aware, your relationships, the people that you choose to be in relationships, is probably not going to be the healthiest for you in the church or anywhere else. So understanding what kind of relationship you even want. What are the characteristics of a healthy relationship? What are the characteristics of a healthy church? Understanding those things are of utmost importance to you because it goes into decision making. You're not going to make the greatest decision if all of those other things on your SEL scale are off. You are not going to make the best decisions, which is how most people end up getting hurt in a church situation as well as in a social environment. So remember your social and emotional learning scale, SEL scale, your self awareness, your self management, social awareness, relationship skills, and decision making skills in the church. Because now I understand that because of what is going on culturally in our environments as a nation, I'm in America again, if you're not watching from America, we have to be aware of our SEL scale in order to even survive some of the things that are happening right now. And I don't want you to just focus on surviving. I want you to be able to thrive. And because of what's going on in our culture, I also understand that there are going to be a lot of people running to the church for help, for safety, for security, for understanding, for God, looking for God. And so you have to be able to understand where you are on your SEL scale so that if you are one of those people who needs the church, we all need the church, but you have to be in a healthy position. I know we feel like we can be able to come into the church in whatever state we are in, and we are. Do not stay away from the church because you feel like you're unhealthy, but you need to be socially and emotionally aware enough so that you don't run into a church that's going to further hurt you than where you are right now. Okay. So again, we're going to pause the Church Hurt Recovery podcast at season 1. Stay tuned to my YouTube channel that is under my name, Soneakqua J White, so that you will get some more of the updates and things that I'm going to be talking about as we go through these next few years in the tumultuous culture that we are currently in, how to manage yourself emotionally, mentally, socially, maybe even financially in the world that we are faced with right now. So stay tuned for my YouTube channel. If you are watching my podcast from Spotify or another platform, please head over to my YouTube channel, Soneakqua J, so that you will stay abreast and informed of some of the things that I am also talking about for my clients and for anybody who needs to understand and be able to manage yourself socially, emotionally, and mentally through these times. Okay. I will be back on my YouTube channel soon. Until then, be proactive about your mental health. Be well, and God bless. Thank you so much for joining me on this episode of the Church Hurt Recovery Podcast. I hope you've learned something, and if you did, please remember to subscribe. Also remember that this podcast is for educational purposes only. It does not take the place of therapy. So if you need professional assistance, please seek that out. Until we meet again, be proactive about your mental health, be well, and God bless.